Alright, so I'd be bullshitting if I said the Battle Royale genre was one that ever piqued my interest. It's a dead horse that just keeps spitting out money to this day.
To this day! To this day! You just sit here and you don't know what I'm talking about? Man, I'm out of here, bro.
So it makes sense companies would line up with their studios and let everyone take a few good swings at it. Now, if we're being real, I felt like the concept had been perfected by Japanese manga and film of the same name, and years later the idea was dug up, exploited, and quickly squeezed dry by the Hunger Games franchise. Turns out, I'd never been more wrong. Companies like PUBG, Epic Games, and even Chinese powerhouse NetEase have all burnt through considerable amounts of cash and manpower to secure their position as the last company standing, or at the very least, the company standing on the biggest mountain of cash when all said and done. Now, if you've been gaming as long as I have, you're no doubt well aware that anytime Mountain of Cash is involved, Electronic Arts is there with a can-do attitude, climbing gear, and the resolve to eat any living creature or game studio standing between it and the summit. Now, that's not to say I don't have fun with their games, but they have a bit of a rep. Now, that being said, if there's gold in them their hills, they want a piece of the pie. After the successes of Anthem and Battlefield 5, EA needed a win. Like, bad. Enter Apex Legends, a late entrant into the free-to-play Battle Royale. BRs were and are everywhere, and since I'm a filthy fucking hipster, it took me some time to get on board, but not with Apex. Apex is a return to the universe of Titanfall. That is, sans the Titans, and the pilots, and the wall running, and a lot of the weapons. Look, it ain't Titanfall, and it definitely ain't Titanfall 3. But ever since February of 2019, it's been scratching that itch, and that's because I'd argue that there's no team in the industry that does FPS movement and gunplay like Respawn Entertainment. And as far as BRs go, it's not even close. Even without flaming choppers barreling from the sky and RPGs launching towards you, the pace in Apex is unmatched. And now here we are, 70 million players later. 4 seasons have come and gone, and though personally I've been playing since before seasons were even a thing, the beginning of Season 5 was May 12th. I've been playing just about every day since then, and I think I'm in a good position to let you guys know how I've been feeling about some of the buffs, nerfs, about the lore, and about Loba herself. Also, what I'm hoping to see this season. Guys, my name is Mr. EMP. Welcome to I Make Plays TV. This is the start of my review series on this channel. There's no official score for today, being as we're reviewing an update. We'll simply see if I can recommend Respawn's latest. So today, as far as Apex Legends is concerned, Season 5, I'm going to call it how I see it. Now, Loba might be just what this game needed. Apex Legends is a game that, at the higher tiers of play, has a very strict meta. There are some characters that are just streets ahead of others, especially in the right hands. The game is still always going to be fun to spectate, but constantly seeing the same characters on every team meant that at an esports level, a lot of the coolest things in the game aren't on display. If you want to see some variety from Pathy, Watson, and Wraith every game, you're going to be disappointed. Honestly, shit can get pretty dry. You're just not going to see everything that Apex is capable of, and I say that's a shame. I think that Loba may be able to change that at least a little bit. I know a few Wraith players out there who are claiming to be Loba mains, and that's saying something. Sure, there are those out there who are getting caught up in the new character hype. Still, there are other players on Twitch and YouTube who have fallen in love with Loba's assets. And I too am a fan of her kit. I just love her tits. Her loot vision allows her to see purple and gold items through walls and supply crates. She can quietly loot up if you're the lone wolf type of player, or if you want to help your team, you can lead them to the pretty colors you see ahead of you. Her jump drive allows her to easily close distance and get high ground to engage, yet it also allows her one of the most clutch disengages in the game. And her ultimate black market boutique lets her entire team abscond with 2 items each from all of the loot in the surrounding area. Perfect for resupplying a teammate toward the end of a game, or ganking a Devo from a care package that was just opened. As far as team composition goes, I find Loba can mesh with a variety of playstyles. With a strong squad of rushers built around a recon such as Bloodhound, Loba can quickly close distance on a scanned enemy to get all in that ass. With a teammate like Wraith having multiple abilities to push and or retreat on one squad, the enemy has to watch all angles to avoid getting caught lacking in a flank. I'd like to combine Loba with Crypto in duels. Give them both Evo shields and snipers and stay on the edge of big fights. Use Loba's ult to grab gear and kit yourself out. Then it's just a matter of poking and charging your shield. Rinse and repeat. Long story short, Loba seems to be a flexible character in the meta. No matter how you want to get it done, Loba's utility puts her and her team in a good position to get those 43s, those big W's, which is always the goal in Apex. Now all of this makes for a very interesting combination that lands Loba near the front of the pack when it comes to the other legends. There's not a part of Loba's kit that feels underpowered or useless to me, which is a big improvement over Season 4's Revenant. Speaking of Revenant, being that he had a hand in killing Loba's parents, Loba and the Death Robot have the most interesting story in all of Apex, which leads me to the lore. Now, it's obvious that Respawn wants to expand on the Titanfall or Apex lore, and as a fiction writer myself, I can't blame them. They've interwoven science fiction with the supernatural, while keeping fairly grounded characters, some of which with tangible, relatable goals. Bangalore wants her family back, Gibby wants to protect his friends, Bloodhound just really wants to kill things. Loba wants revenge. Completely understandable when someone kills your parents. That kind of thing goes one of two ways, and she ain't Batman. She uses the games as well as the other legends as her means to an end. What that end is, we'll just have to wait and see. This season, with the addition of the Quest tab and Tracker, we finally get to see or read how the other legends interact with each other when Loba wrangles most of their ranks into what I can only assume is going to be a Grand Theft Auto style heist. It's interesting to see parts of these characters' personality be realized, even if it's just in text format. Hopefully one of them turns out to be a Trevor. There's definitely some intrigue here, as the transcript is written in such a way that the audience is left to guess who's speaking at times. These sort of whodunit shenanigans leave more questions than answers, and I just really hope Bloodhound ain't on no bullshit. Hopefully in the future, maybe even for the finale, we can get more than a few text boxes. The gameplay for this quest so far is a short PvE mission akin to what was offered in EA's own Anthem or the first Destiny, that is to say, not much. The only thing missing here is Dinklebot and his indifference. You fight your way to an area and defend that area for a moment. Eventually you're told you can leave. So far it's really bare bones, just like Anthem and Destiny were. But being that this game is free to play and PvE has never been a focus, it's a start. When Respawn wants to change a map, their go-to move is to put a giant fucking hole in it. Just a gaping fucking hole for any poor unfortunate soul like myself to fall in while running for my virtual fucking life. It's different, yes, but is it better? Well, here's the thing, and I'm gonna get fried by the Apex community over this. I was never the biggest fan of Skulltown. I've always felt that the fragments on World Edge were a much better test of skill, being that Skulltown was just endless corners for more squads to pitch tents and camp around. So yes, I personally do think that the Broken Coast, which has replaced Skulltown, is a good addition. Now, underneath Sing Labs, they've added a dope little passageway giving access to more new areas. There's a nice little industrial feel to the area with opportunities to dip in and out of buildings and fight your way to victory. Best part, there are these towers all over that give everyone standing on the connecting platform a free ult. This makes the capacitor a great place to land or to rotate for teams whose ults are on a bit of a longer cooldown. There is one thing about capacitor, however, I am less a fan of. The fucking Great Wall of Apex. The idea for this wall, according to Respawn, is to force different rotations, but in my games it just served to slow the game down for my squad. We had to take long walks before we could engage enemies on the other side. Alright, let's get this out of the way. The Pathfinder nerf.
You're mad, I'm back. Big mad, he's mad, she's mad, big sad. Ha ha, don't care, stay mad. Ah ha.
No, but seriously, you guys need to build the damn bridge and get over it. The grappling hook now has a cooldown of 35 seconds, up from 15 seconds, and many Pathfinder mains feel like it's unfair. Oh, how the mighty have fallen. I remember a time pre-season 1 when Pathfinder had the most broken hitbox I've seen of any character ever in this game. You were taking a gamble if you fired at a Pathy by yourself. A wrong flip of the coin and your bullets would fly through his gangly metal frame before he zipped himself across the map with his momentum to gain better positioning. And there was nothing you could do about it. I remember many Pathmans telling me to get good. Now that issue was eventually fixed and Paths largely left alone, as other characters received nerfs that, according to the community, would be catastrophic. Nerfs that, in reality, barely affected community character play rates. Now, I'd argue that Pathfinder's time was always coming. It wasn't a matter of if, but when and how severe. Being that he got away, emphasis on got away because it's Pathfinder we're dealing with here, for so long, Respawn had to be aware that there was a portion of the community who felt as though fighting a Pathfinder was considerably less manageable than it should have been. He could disengage, reposition, and re-engage far too quickly. Now 35 seconds is a bit harsh. I'd personally take 5 seconds from that, bringing Pathfinder to 1 grapple every 30 seconds. I've heard from the community that they want it down to 25, though I feel that still may be a bit fast for the distance that a good Pathfinder can cover. Now the other big character change this season, Mirage's rework. If you weren't aware, Mirage is fairly different from the basic bitch bamboozler he used to be. Mirage got a buff that gives him increased control over his clones, making the clone copy whatever movement Mirage Prime makes. Now, as somebody who was rarely caught by the OG bamboozles, I can honestly say that Mirage is strong now. His ult produces a bunch of clones that, especially inside of a building, can trip up even the most perceptive players. Now, needless to say, I don't try to pull up on Mirages alone nowadays unless I'm feeling real sturdy. In addition, he cloaks when reviving a teammate, which also makes him a viable healer. Mirage has made a big jump from perhaps the most useless character in the game to a real threat in the right circumstances and hands. Last thing I'm going to talk about is the Havoc and its nerf. You might have been able to hear the air quotes on that one because the Havoc was barely changed. The patch notes say some nonsense about increasing the recoil, but this thing is still a laser at range and an automatic cannon up close. There's not much to say about it, except that it still very may well be the best gun in the game, and that Respawn has some more work to do. So I'll preface what I have to say about the Battle Pass with this. In a game where legendary skins are $20 a pop, what the Battle Pass gives you is totally worth it. Between the crafting materials and the coins, you'll see returns on your investments guaranteed as long as you grind. Now, I do feel, unfortunately, that a lot of the other rewards given this time around just aren't that exciting. The Mirage and the Bangalore legendaries, while cool looking, aren't anywhere near as flashy as last season's Wraith or Watson offerings. The Skydive emotes are cool, though not all characters receive a new one, so if your main doesn't have one this season, then you likely won't be seeing too much of what you get. The other offerings of gun skins, banner frames, kill quips, and charms are there, but honestly, that's the only thing that needs to be said about them. As I said earlier, the coins and the mats alone are reason enough to buy, and if you save coins you get, you'll have enough to buy the next battle pass. If you're not the type to spend money on free-to-plays, this system can make $10 stretch, theoretically, as long as this game offers new battle passes. Alright, being that we're about a week into the season, I feel as though the dust is just really starting to settle on some of the better players, starting to unlock not only the potential of the new character, but things like buffs, nerfs, and the new map. Soon though, you know like I know it won't be enough. It's never enough. Gamers are insatiable, and with a free-to-play shooter in a market that's oversaturated with them, they'll quickly move on whenever the next game offers something that may not necessarily be better, but is definitely fresher. Luckily, Apex has a fairly good track record with this in the last few seasons. They provided fresh content through teasers, animations, and more importantly, game modes for the community to enjoy. Now, not every mode was a winner. Let's keep it 100, Deja Loot was kinda ass, but there were some gems. Some examples being Armed and Dangerous, Shoddy Snipers for your Halo OGs, Always Be Closing, Gold Duos, or my personal favorite, the Winter Express. Now, I'm sure Respawn has some things up their sleeve to keep play exciting and rewarding. We'll wait and see, but I have faith that they're doing their thing over there. The addition of the quest that I spoke about earlier provides a perfect opportunity for Respawn to capitalize and engage with an audience that's thirsty for content. Now, picking up treasure packs daily and rewarding players for doing so to ensure you can move the story along when the time comes keeps the carrot on the stick from rotting. Eventually, we'll learn more about the legends and their roles in all of this. Who can be trusted? Who are the bad guys? More importantly, are there any good guys? Along with some of these events have come some of the rarest items to exist in all of Apex Legends, the heirlooms. So far, Wraith, Bloodhound, Lifeline, Pathfinder, and Octane have all received heirloom items with some of the coolest animations I've seen in this or a lot of other games. The good news, I have heirloom shards. The bad news, my main, the namesake of my channel, the EMP to my Mr. Crypto, does not have one yet. Now, rumor is that won't be the case for long, and if that's true, then
I would like to see it.
Apex Season 5 is a step in the right direction for this Battle Royale. Since the beginning, a main criticism of Respawn and Apex is the lack of meaningful content updates. As I see it, it seems like they've been listening and every season are working to up the ante on the characters, the lore, the gameplay, and the community engagement. I'd totally recommend Apex Legends Season 5. Man, I remember when Jason West and Vince Zampella left Infinity Ward and their mega hit franchise to start a fledgling studio, sort of like this fledgling YouTube channel. Respawn just celebrated their 10-year anniversary, and in 10 years I hope to be in a similar space regarding to this channel. I look forward to covering their next step in Apex and gaming as a whole. So what do you guys think? Do you see it how I see it? Do you think I'm an idiot? Let me know in the comments or hit me up on social media. The handles are in the description. I want to thank you guys for watching the video today. You have no idea how important it is to have you guys here as I start this journey. Best believe there's a lot more to come. I'm Mr. EMP signing off for I Make Plays TV.